So having figured all that out, figured out all these numbers, whether I got them right, whether I got them wrong, for better or worse, now try to actually translate what we figured here and put it into shape with actual hardware. Yep, looks like a probe core to me. Here, I'm gonna actually just turn it this way just to get some practice working with it. Okay, so this is going to go all the way to the moon. It's going to land on the moon. It's going to come back, re-enter, parachute down, and land. Let me see, what does this thing have? As far, yeah, it has its own SAS. It has a very small battery. It has its own reaction wheel. Okay, so things that we need to start adding to it. Let's like go, yeah, start from the last stage in the mission, work our way backwards. This thing needs to parachute down and land. Let me see. Use current craft mass. Yeah, we'll want to take a look at that again later, as that will probably change. Yeah, this will all stay together. I think I got another idea, because this part's going to, we need this to constantly be working. We have these little RTGs. Yeah, look at these guys. Yeah, the stock RTGs, this big fat massive thing. Here, let's just go ahead. How about 2 of them? And stick them on there like that. It looks crooked. It's kind of offensive to me. Maybe it's just this part is going to be crooked, huh? I think that could be it. Yeah, you'd think the mirror mode would be the same thing as symmetry mode times 2, but not always. Sometimes it gets a little different for whatever reason. Here, let's, while I'm here in this utilities tab and thinking about it, let's go ahead, let's give it a couple lights so we can find it in the dark. Oh, hang on, that's gonna, parachute's gonna hit it. How about like that? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, cool. Save what I have right now. I don't know, the little Apollo name. Maybe that's not quite working so well. Moon Rovebot. Moon Rovebot 1. It's going to do a re-entry. So, when it does a re-entry, it's going to need a heat shield. I think, is this one is too small? Yeah, I believe that one's too small. Let's go ahead and do the 1 1/4 meter. Which that comes with its own decoupler. It'll decouple itself. I think I like the looks of that. Yeah, now our vehicle... Oh, wait a second. I need to do something before that. Let's remind myself. Go to Action Groups. Click on this. We want to... we want to use the current craft mass. And the rest of this, all the just default configurations. Here we go. Save that. And we're not going to be parachuting with the heat shield attached. Alright, and there's the heat shield. Okay, so we need to figure out a way to get this assembly from the surface of the moon up into lunar orbit, and then from lunar orbit to Kerbin re-entry, which we previously figured out 2345, 2,345 meters per second. Different ways that we could do this. The most obvious thing to do is to stick a fuel tank underneath here and an engine on the bottom. And let's go ahead and consider doing it the obvious way. Okay, and then we'll go... See, I would use these procedural part pack fuel tanks, except, see, these are not set up for real fuels. There is a recent version of the game that is, of that mod that is, it says it is set up, but the mod developer himself says that using that version will eventually break your save. So I'm going to continue to use the good old stretchy SRB tanks. And we don't need it that big, do we? Yeah, the whole vehicle up 795 kilograms. I bet you we'll be looking at some of these really little guys. Let's try something. What happens if we do these? See if I stick these on here. Mirrored correctly, right? And we set these up. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, these things have only one kind of fuel they can accept. This MMH N204. I should find out exactly what the name of that fuel is, other than the abbreviations. But here, we'll fill our fuel tank with MMH and N204. Very helpfully does it already in the correct ratio. And let me see, reference bodies. We're still referencing the moon. On the moon, just this assembly, our first guess at it, gives us a thrust-to-weight ratio of over 2 and a total delta V of greater than what I needed. Looks like that wasn't a bad first guess, huh? If I say so myself. 23. Okay, that's cutting it really, really close. I mean, I already did add some room for error, but I think I want to have more. 23. How much? Yeah, at least 2,400. 24. All right, good. We'll go with that. But I also said that I wanted this portion of it to be a rover. Let's think on ways we can do that. Is it too... Do you think it's too big for tiny little wheels? Well, we want to have these on decouplers too, so we won't want to be... There's no point in carrying these to orbit. I'm okay with it, like, partially clipping into the tank, because I know there's even something to say if we right-click on this. Utilization. This means that 87% of this tank is actually being used for fuel, and therefore there's 13% of it that is not being used for fuel, which means I'm totally okay with saying that there's ways that we can mount equipment inside of there. There we go. Focus Moon Robot 1. And guess what? It can drive. It doesn't handle. Whoa! I tried to give just a tiny little turn. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, that was excellent. Alright, it can drive, it just can't turn. Can we try revert flight? Let's just revert the launch again. Let's give this another shot. Yeah, that was pretty good. I think I enjoyed it. Alright, let's try, see if we do like the precision control. Will that help us? We just make a point to take our turn slow. No, see? Okay, yeah, that works. It's not drastically top heavy, I don't think. We'll find out how it handles just a little bit of a slope. Find out whether things get terribly out of control. If I thrust backwards, nope! And we'll see. Okay, on the surface of the moon, this would be kind of a disaster. Actually, maybe, man. Okay, rolling down a hill, picking up speed, just tap, if ever so slightly touch the brakes. Wow. That is not good, guys. That is not good at all. This is not a good design, is what this is. Yep, okay. Game kind of froze up. To restart. I'm rethinking this whole thing. We're actually going to get rid of all of that. Let me see. We have, as much as I like that procedural decoupler, it's kind of fat for our purposes. Instead, I'm going to go with this one. How about that? Nice little skinny guy. And I'm thinking that maybe this whole assembly is also too fat. I got an idea about this. Let's go to our structural pieces, our procedural structural part. Let's go back to spaceplane hangar mode. Let's grab ourselves one of these, put it there. This one, I want it to be small. And call it a quarter meter, like 25 centimeters across. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Here, it's texture. I was forgetting to work with the textures in those. The simple structural part, we'll go with the Atlas texture, and one looks like just polished metal. How about that? That looks kind of cool, doesn't it? Yeah, I think it looks cool. I'm thinking I'm actually going to build a little framework here. Yeah, something to attach fuel tanks and rover wheels to. How about that idea, huh? Yeah, something like that. And what I'm actually thinking is, well, see, this whole assembly is going to be something that will... This is going to be, yeah, we're going to leave that behind on the ground. We'll put our fuel tank in the middle. Here, let's go ahead and let's do that right now. Let me see, that's right. There's one thing that I did earlier. I went through and I figured out I want to have... Here, let's list notes. Tank color code. Let's load this one up. Tank color code. Select and load. There we go. Yes, this tank is going to have the MMH and N2O4 in it. We want it to be black and white. Got that one. Let me see. Do we want to put our little engines here? Let's do a rover test first. Again, go to our utility. We'll try it with our little rover wheels. And again, why is it not wanting to attach properly? Now it is. That's good. And again, we're having difficulties with that. Yeah, the mirroring on a whole bunch of this stuff just gets confused so easily. Yeah, that looks like a much more viable little rover design, doesn't it? If it doesn't break. And that is a problem. F3, did anything break, or is it just like stretching straight through? That is an issue. No, something broke. No, or wait a second, it's acting like it's still totally... This is glitchy stuff. Wonder how far the thing will drive. Whoops, thud. Be free! Why can I still control that? And oh, I let go of the button and it's rubber banding back. Oh, that's good. That's good. Whee! Oh! I tried to turn it while it was rubber banding, and it didn't like that. All right, revert flight, revert spaceplane hangar. It was a good bug. I enjoyed that one. I bet you just some simple struts could fix a large part of that issue. Let's do it that way, huh? Let's see if we rubber band straight through any structures this time, huh? Yes, we do. We still drive. Whee! Oh, now we got stretchy struts. Oh, that's excellent. Excellent. Yeah, and back. Oh! Probe core still alive. Let's try something. If I attach a strut here, strut to the heat shield, and then strut it to the tank. I mean, it's falling straight through this tank, and that is bad. Whee! Stretchy struts. Whee! Oh, that's excellent. I'm loving that. Yeah, maybe too far. It may pop that time. No, still good. Still going. Yep. Oh, it got hung up on itself. Yeah, we popped one of the struts. Okay, can we like turn? Oh, wait a sec. Oh, I think, did we break a wheel or something? No, we didn't. It's just the friction's getting to be a little bit too much for it. That was good. Okay, yeah, after a whole lot of futzing around and trying to figure stuff out, and never really did figure out exactly why on that other design the thing was just phasing straight through the tank and we're getting stretchy noodle struts. As entertaining as that was, it's not going to work. We scrapped the design and decided to go for something totally different and say hello to Moon Rovebot 2. Moon Rovebot 2, let's see, but we still have the stretchy tank down here. We decided to go with these little engines, which I got from the AIES pack. They're kind of glorified, glorified RCS ports. Between the two of them, we have a grand total of 6.5 kilonewtons of thrust. So what's going to happen is, you know, whenever it's time to take off, this thing can drive around, it can rove around and inspect stuff. And then this is a procedural parts decoupler. This is just a procedural parts structural part, so it'll jettison both those. And, you know, instead of having just like one big overbuilt deck with wheels attached to it, no, we'll just have a couple little structural bits with wheels in the front and the back. It'll jettison those, and the rest of it can fly away home. And my plan is for the actual landing, I've got this flat part on top here. I'm going to build up on top of that, and we're going to build out into a sort of the Mars rover sky crane kind of deal. We'll have a come down, we'll have probably an engine nozzle on each side. So that is the plan for now. See, we had on notes that, yeah, okay, so Kerbal Engineer tells me I've got over 2,400 delta V in this stage, and all my math that I was doing back there said I needed like 2345 to get from the surface of the moon all the way back home to Kerbin. Let's hope it's right. Remember, the overall goal of this mission for my Kerbals is to go and do some exploration on the moon, but for me, the overall goal is to demonstrate that finding things, going and figuring things out Delta V-wise by using the whole maneuver node system and the engineer and everything to find out if that's valid, or if they're find out if I still got some more stuff I need to learn. Okay, now I'm thinking engine-wise, we have these other small things from AIES, something like this. Yeah, these go, they can either do liquid H2 and liquid oxygen, or they do the MMH and N2O4. Or the what's default, kerosene and liquid oxygen may be better. Let's just look and see what happens with, you run through all these different options, huh? Again, see, that's not wanting to line up straight. Why is it kind of freaking out like that? Ooh, hey, that works. Okay, so now let's consider these options. Let's close that thing down. I don't want that. Okay, these engines, I always just go to the highest tech level. Why even bother messing with the lower ones? I guess the different tech levels are for people if you're wanting to do, say, a career type of thing where you're gradually unlocking better technology. I understand that. That could be useful. That's just, it's not what I want to do with this particular playthrough. So I ain't going to. Okay, let me see, which one do I want to do? See, if I go to liquid H2 and liquid oxygen, which, by the way, I grabbed the wrong kind of tank, we get max thrust of just under 24 in vacuum, specific impulse of 457. If we go with one, but the problem is that the liquid H2, liquid oxygen, you need a cryogenic tank, which we have. But the liquid hydrogen especially, that it cannot possibly be sealed up tight enough to completely stop the boil off. As long as you have the hydrogen in that tank, it's going to continually seep and it's going to lose little bits of hydrogen. See, let's go to kerosene and liquid oxygen. Liquid oxygen also gradually boils off, but much, much slower. Max thrust 32, specific impulse. Yeah, look at that. I think we may be interested in going with that one. What if we go with our MMH N2O4? Yeah, much lower. Yeah, it's lower specific impulse than any of the others. Maybe we could take these off, go ahead and put some cryogenic tanks on there. See if we do the kerosene liquid oxygen. Our overall weight, 1,227. Okay. Now let's see if we go with the MMH N2O4. 1,252. Yeah, let's stick with this liquid oxygen and kerosene for the time being, which means I do want to change to my cryogenic tanks. Okay, already almost the appropriate amount of delta V. Look at that. And we can still make these tanks larger. See, we want 1610 as a bare minimum. So let's okay, hang on. Let's make the tanks larger this way. Up to 1,500. We'll extend them out just a little bit. Whoop, oh, it's already too much. Here, let's shrink this again. 1610. Cool. Actually, okay, so we want to have just a tiny little bit more than 1610 in these because we do want it to, yeah, it needs to like set down, and then the sky crane stage needs to remove itself. Let's go nuts. Let's go all the way to like 1700, just for, I don't know, just to try and be more safe. Because, you know, I'm not going to be perfectly efficient in setting up the whole landing. You see, working backwards, I have a means of parachuting down to Kerbin. Before that, I have a means of re-entering. Before that, I have a means of getting from the surface of the moon to Kerbin re-entry. Before that, I have a means of getting from lunar orbit down to the lunar surface. Now, I need a means of getting from low Kerbin orbit to lunar orbit. Okay, so this stage is really very simple. It's just, we just need a fuel tank and an engine. So let's go with, I bet you we'll need another cryogenic tank. How about that idea? Cylindrical cryogenic balloon tank. I like that idea. Let's put that one like that. See, this one, we may even be able to get away with doing just the hydrogen and oxygen. Okay. See, engine-wise, what are we going to do? We need one of these lightweight engines. See, I think that we actually don't want one of these, an LVN, because of just how ridiculously heavy they are. The engine weighs almost 7 tons, and my entire payload right here is like just 1.7 tons. No, I don't think I'm going to go with one of those really huge heavy engines, thank you. I could do one of these stock engines, but how about, this is for the AIES, it's a lightweight engine. How about this one? It's good for a lot of things. Okay, whoops, hang on first, let's fix that staging for that engine. Where'd it go? Here it is. Put that down at the bottom. What are our options with this one? Kerosene, liquid oxygen. Okay. Max thrust with that, 174. Liquid H2, max thrust 130, but lots and lots of specific impulse. Let's try the liquid H2, liquid oxygen. Liquid H2, liquid oxygen. Okay, well, we're close to 4,000 delta V. Pulled up my notebook. How much delta V do I want in this stage? This is low. We need 3225. We already have too much. Look at that. Shrink that down. You had to pull it down to like 3,300. I mean, it's always good to have just a tiny little bit extra margin of error, you know. So let me see. I figured that for the entire trip, I needed 7,180 meters per second, and engineer is telling me that this entire thing, I've got close to 7,500. So definitely got some room to work with. Hide that notepad again. Thank you. Well, yeah, that's working. And my entire package, the whole thing, weighs just over 4 tons. Ain't that good? That's real good. And it looks like it'll fit inside 2.5 meter fairing. So I'm happy with that.